Canadian fishermen Mallory Harrigan, Cliff Russell, and Allan Russell were about to embark on another day in the icy waters of Labrador. The morning began as usual. Mallory organized the fishing gear while Cliff and Allan meticulously inspected the boat, ensuring every detail was perfect to face the day at sea. The preparation was almost a ritual, with each of them performing their role with skill and experience. After carefully loading the provisions, they finally set sail, leaving the safety of the bay behind. The biting cold accompanied the trio as they navigated through a breathtaking landscape. Towering blocks of ice floated majestically on Labrador's crystal-clear waters, creating a scene straight out of a painting. The chilly breeze carried the salty aroma of the ocean, and the sound of waves breaking against the boat's hull made the experience even more. After a few hours of hard work, the crew located a large school of fish, and excitement quickly spread among them. The energy on the boat was palpable, with nets cast and high expectations for a productive day. The atmosphere was almost electric, and their activity soon attracted the attention of seabirds that began to flock above, searching for a chance to feast. However, while the fishermen were focused on their catch, something unexpected began to emerge on the misty horizon. A colossal iceberg slowly appeared, as if it were a mythical creature rising from the depths of the ocean. The sunlight reflected off the ice, giving the scene an ethereal and surreal beauty that completely captivated the crew. Intrigued by the sight, Mallory adjusted the boat's course to get closer to this natural spectacle. As they approached, the temperature seemed to drop even further, but the captivating allure of this Arctic wonder was irresistible. While they admired the iceberg, something peculiar at the top of the icy structure began to draw the fishermen's attention. The iceberg swayed gently with the rhythm of the waves, one of its ends protruding to form what looked like the tail of a giant ice whale. However, it wasn't the ice tail itself that truly captured the crew's gaze. It was something much smaller and entirely unexpected perched on top of it. A tiny figure moved atop the block of ice, drawing the fishermen's eyes and causing them to exchange puzzled glances, trying to make sense of what they were witnessing. "Look over there, something's moving," exclaimed Allan, breaking the silence with a voice full of surprise. He pointed towards the iceberg's peak while Mallory and Cliff strained to identify the mysterious figure. As they got even closer, it became clear that this was no ordinary marine animal. What they found was far more unique and unexpected, something that would completely change the course of their fishing day. It was an Arctic fox, small and fragile, standing at the edge of the ice block as if desperately waiting for help. "Is that really an Arctic fox?" Cliff asked, peering closely through his binoculars. "How did it get so far from the shore? This poor animal's in trouble." The fox, visibly frightened and shivering from the cold, seemed to sense the imminent danger surrounding it. As the boat drew closer, the Arctic fox opened its eyes in fear, its first instinct being to flee. Its panic only grew with the presence of hungry seagulls circling overhead, waiting for an opportunity to strike. The crew knew they had to act quickly to save the small animal. Surrounded by squawking seagulls swooping aggressively, it was as if the birds were asserting their dominance, repeating in their own language, "We are your enemies, stay away." Mallory, observing the scene and recognizing the critical situation, sighed. "If we don't do something, it won't stand a chance." The gravity of the moment was clear to everyone, and without hesitation, they decided to act to save the Arctic fox. Exchanging determined glances, the team quickly sprang into action. Time was against them, and every second was crucial. "We need to get closer," said Allan, his eyes fixed on the Arctic fox. "Give me a moment, I'll try to lure it in." As they approached, the panicked fox retreated even further toward the edge of the iceberg. The tension in the air was palpable. If the fox fell into the freezing water, its chances of survival would be nearly zero. Mallory, realizing the danger, quickly grabbed a sturdy rope, not wanting to risk injuring the fox if it jumped in desperation. Without wasting any time, she carefully climbed onto the iceberg and began calling out to the fox, trying to get its attention. At first, the frightened fox backed even closer to the edge, teetering as if on the brink of a cliff. "Don't be afraid, little one," Mallory called urgently, knowing this was their last chance. One mistake could cost the animal its life. Despite her efforts, the trembling fox didn't come any closer, showing no signs of moving toward them. "We don't have another option," Cliff said, deciding on the next step. "We'll need to break off a piece of the ice together." Carefully, they positioned the boat and began working around the fox. They took turns chipping away at the iceberg, trying to maneuver the fox toward the boat. Facing the biting cold and the challenges of the ice, the crew worked swiftly yet cautiously. Every crack of the ice reverberated in their ears, a constant reminder of the delicate situation. They knew the ice was becoming increasingly fragile, and time was running out. After much effort, the fox, still clinging to the edge of the iceberg, seemed to sense a glimmer of hope. Finally, the fishermen managed to safely bring it aboard the boat, placing it gently in a suitable container. The rescue was complete, and despite their exhaustion, the fishermen exchanged looks of satisfaction, knowing they had done the right thing. Once the fox was safe, it became clear that it was still in shock. It remained motionless, as if it had slept through the entire ordeal, though its eyes betrayed the lingering fear that gripped it. Exhausted and fragile, the fox carried a quiet dignity, as if it understood the value of its saved life. "How did it even get out there?" Mallory murmured, observing the fox with curiosity. The first hour in the box passed, and the fox still hadn't moved. The fisherman figured it probably needed time to recover. After all, it had spent so much time out on the ice, fending off threats from hungry seagulls. As time passed, the fox finally began to stir after several hours. Mallory, wary but hopeful, brought 2 sausages. The fox eyed the fisherman cautiously, then turned its gaze to the food, hesitating as though unsure whether to trust the situation. Maybe it's never seen this kind of food before, Cliff wondered aloud, watching the fox's wary expression, as if it were evaluating the safety of its surroundings. But with each passing moment, curiosity sparked in the fox's eyes. It edged closer to the box, finally gathering the courage to take a bite of the sausage. Seeing the fox accept the food, the fisherman felt a wave of relief, as though the weight of all the tension had suddenly lifted. It was a genuine breakthrough when the fear that had gripped the fox seemed to melt away. As the fox grew accustomed to the fishermen, they realized it was beginning to trust them. Slowly but surely, this trust blossomed into a genuine bond. They fed it several times a day, watching its strength and energy return. Its eyes began to shine with a newfound vitality, reflecting hope for a better future. When the boat approached the shore once again, Mallory and his friends realized the fox's life was just beginning. They wanted to ensure it had a safe place to live. They chose an old cabin near Williams Bay, an isolated spot surrounded by nature, perfect for the fox to start a new life. Day after day, the fishermen visited the cabin, treating the fox as part of their family. The Arctic fox became an unexpected gift from fate, not just for them, but for itself as well. Whenever the fishermen returned, the fox greeted them with joy, almost like a loyal dog celebrating the arrival of its saviors. As a little Arctic fox, it gained fame, drawing the attention of curious visitors eager to see its unique story up close. Over time, the fox grew braver and more playful. With impressive resilience, it demonstrated its ability to adapt, even in the most challenging conditions. What did you think of this story? If this tale of friendship, mutual support, and how even the smallest creatures can transform our hearts touched you, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more amazing stories. Until the next video, stay inspired.